motion. I'd like to see Mr. Austin given his permit so he can get his business up and running. And you're welcome to inspect his system visibly anytime you want. You got that right anyhow. And then if it has a problem, we would move forward, and Mr. Austin would have to do something to get it fixed and get it back up to specifications. So if I was in a position to make a motion, that's what I would make. Whatever.
That's why you're the president. All right. After hearing everything, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that his permit, Mr. Austin's permit, be approved, and to remove the requirement of actually having a meter on there, and to be checked on by the health department periodically to just make sure that everything's functioning properly. And obviously, if a new tenant that would require more water usage comes in, there may be a need to actually put a meter on at that point in time.
An abnormal amount of,
Right, something
Not
like a
just
beauty
somebody using the
salon or
toilet.
butcher, something that, somebody that's gonna come in with a one-person business, I'm not thinking that that's gonna have that much effect. But somebody that comes in and provides a service that requires water, a heavier use of water, then I think we might have to think about the meter going on at that point. But
I would have no
it seems to be working fine now, so I'd make the motion that, we allow Mr. Austin to have his permit and to remove the contingency of the meter for now.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
thank you very much.
Mr. Thomas Heyman. This doesn't look like a Mr. Thomas Heyman. How are you ladies?
Good, how are you?
Good.
First of all, good morning. I'm Monica Sella, and this is Kristen Hunter, and we are standing in for Thomas Heyman, who had a medical emergency this morning and was clearly not able to make it. We are here on behalf of the Tea Party Planning Committee and Board. We're respectfully requesting the Commissioners of Kent County to consider supporting the 2023 festival with $10,000 to help support the cost of event rental Wi-Fi assistance, which will be needed for a successful 3-day festival. We've provided the commissioners with some supporting materials, but we would like to first recap why the festival is important to the economic culture, are able to benefit from increased visibility through sponsorship and advertising. Multiple area nonprofits raise critically needed funds throughout participation in the festival. And I would like to highlight that these nonprofits many times are able to make their annual budget needed just by participating in the festival. Hotels and rentals are always booked solid. Many of them already are booked solid for this year's festival. Regional artisans showcase handmade wares for sale. Local and regional musicians are employed throughout the entire weekend. And historical reenactments provide hands-on education throughout the festival. Overall, Kent County's visibility is strengthened and broadened throughout the festival itself, in addition to various advertising that the festival does throughout the year. And best of yet, no person needs a ticket to the festival. It's completely inclusive, it's free, and it intends to remain so.
Thank you. Our ask of you today is to help us resolve the Wi-Fi challenge, which is detrimental to the success of the festival and all parties involved. The festival is 100% volunteer run and dependent upon private philanthropy, business sponsorship, and generated revenue. Generated revenue is the sale of booth space, percentage of food and vendor profits, and beer festival tickets. This generated revenue is directly tied to the success of participating artisans and vendors who strongly rely on Wi-Fi signal for their point of sales transactions, primarily on personal devices. The current Wi-Fi infrastructure is not capable of sustaining these transactions, as we saw in 2022 throughout the three-day festival. Last year, the festival did borrow Wi-Fi hotspots from the county. However, the Wi-Fi hotspots were insufficient for the heavy usage and did cease operating halfway through the festival. For the festival to be successful for all parties involved, a rented event Wi-Fi system quoted at $15,000 is needed. We did obtain 5 estimates in the range of $15,000 to $16,000, and also sought out an in-kind donation from T-Mobile. As you know, they just opened business here, so we did solicit them. The cost is above the $100K average annual festival budget to operate. We did successfully secure from the Chestertown Town Council a verbal commitment of $5,000 if we did come to you and also request funding. In the package that you received are testimonials from some of the vendors who are upset with the Wi-Fi conditions and are seeking a resolution so that they can return. And thank you for considering our request and our time today to present. Any questions?
I don't have any questions of you. This issue was brought to my attention, and I'm going to ask Scott Boone, who is our IT person sitting in the back. Scott, could you come up and properly?
That's correct, and I'd start by fully supporting their request. Okay, so I think that what they're asking for is probably the right solution for the festival. The funding is up to you guys, but I think it's a good solution. I think they should do it. The history of the Wi-Fi is one where I think our first year we turned on, we endured something called an evil twin attack, where someone had actually turned on an access point, named it the same SSID or the network name of our network. It's pretty common when public Wi-Fi networks where a hacker will come and try and get people to accidentally connect to a network that's not their network, and then they can start stealing data and things like that, or to sabotage and get people to connect to something that doesn't have any internet access at all. And conveniently, we found it shut itself down, and we were able to take that one kind of out of commission. Also, we've been trying to work with the town for years. We know when the Christmas lights turn on because our radios turn off. So we plug into whatever electricity is available, and I would say probably for the better part of a year and a half, 2 years, most of the radios downtown haven't been transmitting because they just get unplugged. And one of them's in a tree. I climb that tree. I put it in. I'm not climbing the tree every year to go plug a radio in. Okay, so what I would suggest is fund them, test this out. We operate in unlicensed spectrum, which means it's a war zone downtown. So when you have Cross and High Street, you have all those businesses operating at 2.4, 5 gigahertz, all that unlicensed spectrum, every sound bar, remote, all this stuff is transmitting. In 2019, we were on our laptops trying to like reposition the radios into individual channels because it's just so heavy downtown. Their solution is licensed spectrum, so it should not run into the same problems that we have when you're dealing with a high capacity crowd. So, but I would say that we should probably go back to the town and say, let's do this 1 year, but now let's work together to maybe provide permanent electricity for the municipal network so that it's up year round. And mind you, this network is one where when you authenticate in downtown Chestertown, you can go out to the beach in Rock Hall, to the Wi-Fi out there, it's the same network. So it's county-wide, and where we have these, what we used to call homework hotspots 2 administrations ago, which is now free public Wi-Fi, it would be very helpful if we could have dedicated services, because then the radios won't go down.
But you think with a little advance notice, we can solve this problem in future years?
I do. It certainly gives us enough time, because right before COVID hit, we actually bought high-capacity radios, and one of the things we needed was to have a conduit run from the A-train over by the consignment store, where we have our gigabit fiber. We needed to go over to the corner of Cross and High Street. The year before, my guys and I took shovels and actually dug a trench temporarily and taped cable over top sidewalks so we could try and increase the bandwidth down there. But we're not digging trenches every year. And from what I understand, Fountain Park's about to undergo some irrigation upgrades. It'd be a great opportunity to open up the ground, put some conduit in, work with the town, and try and beef up our network. But from the perspective of our guys, it's almost an impossible task to keep up downtown Chestertown when we have no power. So, but I do could offer gigabit internet access right to that bus if we could get that conduit brought over there. They could, a little stub up, they could, plug right in, that bus would be right on the fiber.
Well, let's talk about two things then. One thing is the future project for next year or the year after, and can you put together a plan of what you would need to do to solve this problem going forward in the future?
I think we could, we'd like to work with them on that.
Yeah.
It depends on permanent, first thing is permanent power and having access underground to be able to connect where we need to, okay? And I think that if the town's willing to work with us on that, it's not a high dollar item, but it's their purview.
No, I
We can't
understand.
step on their toes.
In other words, you'll come up with a plan. First of all, you're gonna have to run it by Chestertown, and then bring it, once you get there, okay, you could bring it to us, and we move forward with it if
If we find it's feasible, great. And the only way to really test that is during an event. And I can tell you, one year, the fish fry guy unplugged my previous during the event. I don't know how to fix that, It has to be permanent. But I really
Thank
think that their solution is probably a good idea.
So, going forward, you'll work on putting together a project so we can solve this issue in the future, but for the immediate, to take care of the Chestertown Tea Party, you agree that what they want to do with this money is the way to go?
I think so, because the entire downtown, there's GPON, gigabit fiber at so many different anchor sites. It's everywhere. It's saturated downtown. I don't think people know it, but we just don't have the capacity to actually transmit that bandwidth. But right now, well, we could.
Okay,
But I think this is the solution for this year.
very good.
Thank you.
So,
I agree with what Commissioner Fitzsimmons said, that, Scott, if you'll spearhead the plan that you think will alleviate those problems in the future, I think that's a good idea. And having heard what Scott said, what these ladies have said, I'd like to make a motion that we contribute $10,000 to assist with the Wi-Fi assistance, especially for the Tea Party event. And the 10,000 should be taken out of contingency money.
I got a motion.
I second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One more strong support for the county.
There you go. All right, now Mr. Wayne Darrell. He's the Director of Emergency Services. And we're here to talk about possible rate hikes.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Currently, Kent County residents pay on their phone bills per line, $1.25 per line in 911 fees. 50 cents goes to the state, and 75 cents comes to the county. Recent legislation, Public Safety Article 1-311, allows us to raise that to cover the amount of expenses of the 911 center. Ms. Merritt did our recent audit, 911 audit, in March, I believe, and showed an $800,000 deficit, which would allow us to raise those fees if you would like. Some counties have raised already. You have documents there showing which counties have done so. So it's for your consideration to see what you want to do. Originally, the original legislation 2 years ago limited it to 75 cents. But now it's open to covering the fees of the 911, or the cost of the 911 center.
Now, when do we have to, obviously, we're getting ready to go into the budget, and here shortly, how soon would we have to know the answer to this question?
In order to take effect by July 1st for this fiscal year, we'd have to know by the end of the month, and it would have to be done by resolution by the end of the month.
By the end of April, we would have to come up
Yes, sir.
with it?
Requires 60 days for notification to go through the 911 board to the phone carriers, to start collecting that money.
And this is for landline and cell phone.
Landline, cell phone, and internet service. Basically, any phone that can call 911.
Regardless of how high we raise it,
We'll never get there.
you're not gonna do away with the debt,
Yeah.
you're not gonna gain that kind of it's not gonna be self-serving.
And you can see from the form I gave you, some counties have raised already. On the shore, Dorchester County's gone from 75 cents to $1. Caroline County doubled theirs from 75 cents to $1.50. I know Talbot County, I was speaking to them last week, they're considering raising it from 75 cents to $1.75 at this point. Wycomico County went up from 75 cents to $1. So there's a range of people that have done it, or counties that have done it already.
And you're saying we have till the end of April?
This year, to get it effective for July 1st, yes, we have to have a resolution by the end of April to give to the 911 board.
Pat, when will we start talking about our budget?
April 11th is Budget Day, so you're going to hear all the presentation.
But on April 11th, you'll have an idea
We'll have the revenue roll-up.
where
so
we are financially.
We'll be able to tell you what the new dollars are available for the budget, yes.
I shouldn't speak for all three of us, but on this one occasion, I think I could speak. We obviously don't want to raise things just for the sake of raising fees or rates. So I think we would like to wait, or at least I'm talking about maybe on April the 11th when we start, and we have an opportunity to look at the revenue that's coming in and some of the expenditures that we have facing us. Might be a good time to have this issue on the burner that day or soon after.
Yeah, we can
And-
certainly talk about it in Wayne's time when he's,
Yeah. I mean, I don't think either of us want to sit here and say, well, let's double it or triple it or quadruple it or whatever you want to do to it, because I think we want to do it when we need to do it. And when we see those numbers on April the 11th would be a better time, I think, to discuss it. I don't know what my colleagues or John,
I think
Albert.
that's a smart way to do it.
yeah, you'll certainly have more information at that
I
point.
appreciate, Wayne, I appreciate you bringing it before us, and it was very, very self-explanatory. I mean, you showed us exactly what the different increases would mean. And, but once we get it, and we'll make sure you get a decision by the end of April.
Okay,
All right?
thank you, sir.
And right now, Kent County's at 75 cents.
That's 75 cents, yes.
That's correct.
It's been that way for, 15, 20 years. The state did go up from 25 3 years ago to 50 cents, but we have not, and Kent County has not increased.
Once we get these numbers, we may have you come back in during your time and talk about this again, and we'll have a better idea as to whether we think it's necessary or not, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I mean, obviously, it's not paying its way, but a lot of things in government don't pay their way, and we don't raise it just for the heck of it, but I understand your argument here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Williams for our departmental update, Director of Economic and Tourism Development.
Okay, good morning. So the departmental update, a little bit delayed. When the new board was sworn in, you guys had asked for the departments to come in and give updates. We've had some opportunities that we've been able to take advantage of, such as the enterprise zone, and some challenges that we've had to work through within the department. So now we're at a point where we could come in and give a departmental update. Staff are here today, the staff that are actually working in the office. So in the back, you have Dawson Hunter, who is the Housing and Transportation Coordinator. I think you all have met Dawson. Shallon, who is the Tourism Manager. And Rose Osborne is our Administrative Specialist. And then the two staff that are not here today are Katie Wright, she's our Economic Development Manager. And then we have Christina Hyland, who does our social media. She's a social media specialist for tourism development. And that is a part-time position, about 5 to 6 hours a week. So that is currently our department. We have recently, like the rest of the county, completed our FY 2024 budget request for economic and tourism development. It's been finalized, it's been reviewed with the county administrator and the Office of Finance. Part of that process included drafting an update for Dawson's current position as he moved from the local management board to the Economic and Tourism Development Department. The title has been revised to Special Projects Manager, and it still includes continued work on affordable housing and transportation improvements. The other component is other initiatives as identified by the county commissioners. So we ask that you begin thinking about that as a board of county commissioners to give Dawson and I some direction as to what those initiatives would be in the upcoming months. So just kind of a heads up prior to our budget meeting on Monday, and then as you think about the budget process. I want to talk about transportation, and particularly the summer shuttle. It's receiving a lot of community support. We were able to secure some funding from the Upper Shore Regional Council to launch the shuttle because it launches earlier than the next budget cycle, FY 2024. And there is an allocation request in the county budget for 2024. And just want to remind everyone that an important component that we just want to keep in mind is this project gives us another season of great data that we can utilize as we move forward with transportation improvements. Previously, we had not gotten a lot of data. So we are getting a lot of data with this shuttle, and we want to continue that. We'll have 2 full years of that data, and we will be providing that to the county commissioners as well as the Upper Shore Regional Council for their participation and assistance with that program. So want to say that we are happy to be fully staffed. We have been actively training. Training takes place on a daily basis, so we're not quite where we need to be, but we're getting there and making good progress. As was mentioned earlier, we have lots of spring marketing happening right now. We have some TV, radio, social media, print, and digital. TV commercials are running on the 3 major Baltimore stations during the news hours. What we have discovered is that people will turn on the news for a period of time, get what they need, and then tune out. Whether they're jumping to other streaming, or they're jumping to radio, or they're just turning the TV off. But they will watch the news for a period of time to get what they need. So that is where we have focused the TV commercials. And that was possible through the additional grant that we received from the Maryland Office of Tourism Development.
Not to interrupt, but I saw the advertisement this morning on Channel 11, I think it was, before I come into the meeting this
Great,
morning. Yeah.
great. I'm glad to hear that people are starting to notice them, so that's good news.
I've had 3 people from Baltimore call me and tell me that they've seen it.
Nice.
That live over there. Just
Very nice.
FYI.
So Shallon and Dawson will be filming Midday Maryland with WMAR next Tuesday when I'm here presenting our budget. So we're taking advantage of any free opportunities that come along with that commitment that we make with county funding or state funding. So you may have heard, we did an interview on iHeartRadio. It was played on WXCY. Jack FM. It was played on a lot of the radio stations, and that was totally free. That was an interview. So we're trying to take advantage of as many of those free opportunities as we possibly can to promote Kent County. The next thing I want to talk about really quickly is the 2022 strategic plan. It does list the goals, strategies, and objectives, and the objectives are the measurable portion of the strategic plan for the success of economic and tourism development. So our desire was to complete a scoreboard for each strategy, but we just not had time to achieve that. Again, taking advantage of the opportunities and also working through some challenges that we've had in the department. Not all bad, a lot of it was good, like the opportunity to apply for the enterprise zone. Just didn't know that that would present itself, and it did, and we took advantage of it. But under the goal of promoting Kent County as a desirable place to live, work, and visit, some of the objectives include like monthly newsletters on both the tourism side and the economic development side. You just have a different audience on both, so that's why we separate them. We have been able to do that for well over a year now, do a monthly newsletter on both sides. The tourism newsletter goes out on the 1st of the month, and the economic development newsletter goes out mid-month. And our goal was to increase that distribution by 30% the first year. We way underestimated that because the first year from 2021 to 2022, economic development increased by 104, almost 105%, and tourism increased by 126%. So far for 2023, and this was in part due to the New York Travel Show participation, we were able to increase the tourism newsletter distribution by another 68% over 2022's number. And so far for economic development, 5.84. Remember, economic development is more internal within the county, whereas tourism is external, so that could include a really larger area. So I want to make sure that we mention that. And then social media, it's relatively inexpensive, so we intentionally track posts and the success of our pages and posts. Tourism's Facebook was started back in 2010, and in 2020, when we took over and the departments merged together, there were 2,500 followers, and in 2023, we now have over 5,000. So we intentionally are tracking that and trying to increase that reach. On the economic development side, we have over 7,000 followers, and again, we monitor that and make sure that that's increasing. We also are active on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and I'm going to be working with IT to improve and streamline our YouTube channel. Tourism has a really robust tourism channel, and economic development has one that's not where we want it to be. So we're going to talk about how to either put them together or how to keep them separate and improve that as well. And then one other project I want to make sure that the commissioners are aware of, the Everton Industrial Project off of 301, which is the warehouse distribution centers. I am in contact with Everton Industrial, and I will be meeting with them either Thursday or Friday of this week. We just need to figure out a time that works for everyone. And my understanding is they have submitted for Planning Commission in May. So that is progressing. And then the last thing that I have, I'm just trying to complete the circle on a previous discussion. There was $50,000 that was received from the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund. So this was as a result of COVID. It was discussed on January 24th, 2023, and the recommendation was made to allocate the funding to the Millington Wastewater Treatment Facility Expansion Project, being the one project of the three that were funded through the Rural Maryland Economic Development Fund to have the most economic impact. We didn't get an official vote, and it was recommended that we do that for the record to have it be official. So I do ask for that motion here, and I do apologize for not having everything together, but I do feel that it's necessary that we close that loop. And it was recommended that we get a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve exactly what Jamie has presented regarding the $50,000 of funding.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
And that is all I have unless there are any questions.
Are we still making we had a gentleman in here a couple months ago about the data center, maybe more than a couple months ago. Is there still some communication of any kind?
Nothing has taken place since the last email that we got from them with very little information, so nothing beyond that at this point. I think the recommendation is that if we want to do a study like that the county commissioners allocate a sum of money, whether it's the amount that he recommended or whether it's a different amount, and send out RFPs. And then we would vet the RFPs to make sure that we are contracting, because I believe it was $18,000, Commissioner Fithian. I believe it was $18,000. So anything over 5, we really need 3 written, anything over 5,000, we really need 3 written proposals to assess and choose the vendor that would serve the county purposes best.
So could we reach out to some of those individuals again, maybe put something together and bring it before us, so we can, I mean, I don't want it to just, and I know you don't either, just, go away.
Right.
I mean, we don't need to just sit on it, but let's reach out and find out just what's, make contact with them again, and then if you want to discuss whether the board is in favor of moving forward with some kind of RFP or something, we'll make that a topic of discussion.
Okay,
Okay?
I can do that. Thank you. Okay,
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
thank you.
Ms. Jill Coleman for departmental update, and then you're on here twice, so all about the Sultana.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
For my departmental update, currently we have one vacant full-time position, so we're getting there. We're almost there. It's been a challenge for us with being so short-staffed, and they've really stepped up to the plate. This past Saturday, we had our Spring Fest, which is in partnership with the Kent County Health Department. Unfortunately, the weather came in. We had to pull it inside to the community center. But we did have 200 people attend, and that's give or take, because, they didn't miss the registration and didn't sign in, so we had 200 people attend that. It was a very great event. Youth Sports Equipment Grant Award, at the February Advisory Board meeting, the board approved funds in the amount of $2,472 to Spartans Football and Cheer, and $1,459 to the Kent County Little League Baseball. They were only two that applied for the grant for this coming year. Summer 2023 programs and staff. Our summer program registration is off to a great start. We opened registration for summer camps in February. Our kiddie camp program and our youth in action program are currently full. And we do have a few available spots for our day camp. And we're currently working on interviewing and hiring all of our summer staff. To date, I believe the last time I checked, we had 14 lifeguards who have applied for lifeguarding to work at our pools and beaches this summer.
And we need how many?
We're about halfway there.
Is that right?
We're about halfway there. Upcoming special events on April 22nd, we will have our annual Betterton Beach cleanup. Volunteers at the end of the cleanup will be served lunch in partnership with Marzella's by the Bay. They actually donate pizza every year that feeds the volunteers after the event is over. New programs, we started a tumbling and movement program, which was ages 2-year-old up until the ages of 11. The first session of our tumbling and movement program, which is our tiny tumblers, which is 2- and 3-year-olds, actually was filled in 24 hours, where we had to open up another class in order to accommodate more people to be able to take that class later on during the day. So there's actually 4 sessions that go on with our tumbling and movement, and all those classes are filled. We tried a new co-ed drills and skills volleyball. We're trying to bring volleyball, especially youth volleyball, back to Kent County. This is for 6- to 9-year-olds. We actually had 10 kids that are registered for that program. We actually started a co-ed volleyball league, which is in coordination with Queen Anne's Volleyball League. So we've joined their league, and we actually were able to get 1 team this year to be able to join them. So we're hoping by doing the drills and skills and starting the kids at age 6, that we'll be able to promote that program and be able to get more kids to join the league with Queen Anne's County in the future. We have a youth cheer camp that we started on Friday nights in the month of April and May. We have 58 kids registered for that program.
What's that?
It's a youth cheer camp. So the Spartans coach, cheer coach from the football Spartans team, the cheer coach is coming out and doing a camp at the community center on Friday nights for kids. It was open to girls and boys. We have a Glove Bug League, which is a request that we have had in the past. This is pre-K and kindergarten league to start the kids younger in softball, because all the girls went to have to play baseball first, and then they had to transition over to playing softball from T-ball. So we started this league so that the girls could actually, and boys if they would like to play, to actually start playing softball at pre-K instead of having to play baseball and then transition over to softball. And we've also started adult drop-in basketball, and we've had great attendance with that also. Our fitness room and our facility access cards purchase have both increased in numbers. And then we will change over to our spring and summer hours beginning May 1st through October 31st. We'll be closing at 6 p.m. that attended. So we're looking forward to our April event with them, which is a game night for the kids coming up. Player of the Week, we're going to continue our Player of the Week. I don't know if you guys have seen any of our videos that we posted on our Facebook page with our Player of the Week. But we are continuing that with our other sports. We're also going to include the outside leagues. So we're going to feature our softball league, our volleyball league, and our Roadrunner Club. Along with, we're also going to feature baseball, and we're going to feature lacrosse. And then in the fall, we're going to also feature our programs along with featuring the leagues that we also have that maintain our fields at Wharton Park. And then Player of the Week is just based on the athlete with a great attitude, leadership, practice hard, and has gained performance in academics. And each player is chosen by a coach. And then we just rotate what league is going to actually nominate a child for that program. Our program coordinators create these short videos so that we recognize the players, and we put them on our Facebook page every Friday during the season. Our Little League Softball, we have all of our volunteers to serve on our board. They actually have opening day this Saturday out to Wharton Park. So they've been working hard as a board to try to coordinate all that. And they've really gotten that program up and running. And it is moving in the right direction, which I'm proud to say that we're trying to get more girls involved in softball and trying to rebuild that program. Beach tennis, we're currently trying to work with Chip McLeod to hold a beach tennis tournament or a demo day prior to Memorial Day at Betterton Beach to kind of promote the sport. And then we also have finished up we have trail maps and maps of all of our parks. Can't take credit for these. These are some demos, but these were thanks to Department of Planning, Housing, and Zoning. Tyler worked on these. These are Turner's Creek, but we have every one of our parks has either trail maps or it actually has where all the amenities are at each of the parks. These are posted on our website page, so hopefully visitors and even Kent County residents will go to our page and pick those up, and then they'll know what amenities we have at each of our parks and where exactly to find them. Other than that, that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Did I dream? We have another lighting project going on now.
Correct. We have a multi-purpose field that is in the process of being completed. I think it's about another 4 to 6 weeks out. It looks like it's ready, but now it's the electrical part that they're connecting everything.
Is that the field where they play the football, or not?
Correct.
It is that.
Well, it's one of the multi-purpose fields, so it's not just specifically for football. So we use it for lacrosse, soccer, football, and field hockey also. Mm-hmm.
Good. Very good.
Yep, we're excited. We can't wait for it to
How was the
actually get up.
decision made to choose that field?
I think the decision was made to choose that field because the idea behind it is that we would like to light all 3 of those fields.
And you can utilize those poles?
Correct, and utilize those poles, yes.
Well, I assumed. I've been questioned
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah, but that's because I'll be honest with you, everybody wants the first field because it's the best
Didn't know
field.
whether or not you had fielded any of those phone
yeah,
calls, but I have.
Yeah. And it really is the best field, but that is the point behind that. Mhm.
Hey, can I, getting back to this Player of the Week, this is just something that I personally think should be more continuity with, and I know I've said this, but I don't want to beat a dead horse, but are we connected, like Parks and Rec connected with the Washington College athletics? The reason I asked that, you brought up the Player of the Week, and Washington College has Player of the Week for all of their sports as well. And I think that the college sports teams are underutilized by the community, meaning the community going there to watch as entertainment. And I just think it'd be something moving forward that could possibly help the county and the college and Chestertown and everybody if we could become a little more integrated, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has that ever,
I can only speak because I help coach the women's basketball team at Washington College, so I can only speak on their behalf of what we do.
Right.
So we kind of partner with Tyree Johnson, which he is the head coach for the girls' team at Kent County High.
okay,
And he has brought a lot of his players to our games. We have introduced our players to his players. We gave them a tour of our locker room, gave them a tour of the campus if they would like
Right.
it. So there's been that connection there. But I can certainly reach out. It's not like I don't know everyone that's in the athletic department at
could do-
Washington
I just
College.
think I think that that's an untapped resource
Absolutely.
for them and for us too. And I really think that could, I'm planning on doing a couple of things here this summer with some other individual teams, but I think collectively it would be a neat process moving forward to build that.
I tend to agree with what Albert has brought up. I mean, it's always been a little bit of criticism with Washington College that it's, or Chestertown, Kent County, that, some towns and cities are college towns, and there's no trouble to identify them. If you drive through that town, you'll know that they're a college town, where they've always said with Washington College is we're kind of a town that has a college. But, so something like what Albert's talking about makes it more part of the county. It's just a start, but it's something if we could keep that in mind, anytime we could include all those people, it just brings it more in as a county event or something.
Absolutely.
I think that. And by the way, if we run short on lifeguards, Commissioner Price and Commissioner Nickerson are available on weekends, I think, and I think they would look perfect sitting up on one of those lifeguard stands, and I'm sure they would be happy to volunteer.
I already have a red Speedo.
I think Commissioner Fithian's the
You
one
might
with
be
the
able
wet
to
feet.
charge admission, a higher admission price, if they're up there lifeguarding.
Okay, well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Now, you
Talk
got-
about economic and tourism development.
All right. So the second piece that I'm here for is actually for the approval and the signing of the resolution to authorize the Sultana Education Foundation to use Turner's Creek as an overnight camping site for the Hartford Day School on September 18th, 2023.
Wasn't that the group that was in here once before?
Correct,
We're
with
talking
me.
about it. We're just making it official?
Correct,
Right,
yes,
you're
sir.
required to do it by resolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-04 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Jill, thank you very
Thank you.
much, and good job out there with
Thank you.
Parks and Rec. It's getting ready to be a busy time for you now.
Yes, you're ready to get geared up.
All right, next up is our county attorney, Tom Yeager's going to talk to us about the opioid litigation.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you may know, there is opioid litigation that's been pending for some time now. And the state of Maryland has been participating in that, and they have come up with a formula for distributing funds for the 4 cases that they have settled. We had a conference call meeting yesterday, as a matter of fact, with the Attorney General's office. They had attorneys involved in that. So the state has settled with 4 entities, 2 pharmacies, Walmart and Walgreens, and 2 manufacturers, Ativa and Allergan. They have not settled with CVS. The state of Maryland's Attorney General has opined that the proposed, I guess, nationwide settlement with CVS is inadequate for the state of Maryland. Apparently, although we don't have CVS here, there are a lot of them in the state of Maryland, and the amount of opioids that were sold at CVS greatly exceeds what was sold at Walmart, for example, and Walgreens across the state. I think they're the highest amount of opioids sold came from CVS during the time period. So they're not settling with CVS right now. The Attorney General says he plans to litigate that case, but we'll see. And there's some other manufacturers out there, and there's some settlements pending. But in the meantime, what's on the table is approval of the settlement with Walmart, Walgreens, Teva, and I think it's Allergan. I might have pronounced that wrong. So they want to get maximum participation from the counties. Obviously, if all the counties don't participate, it could negatively affect the distribution of funds. We don't have a number what Kent County would receive. I think it's around $294 million statewide. We would get some of that. Obviously, we're a small county, so we're not going to get as much money as the larger jurisdictions will. But this has been reviewed. MACO's in support of this. The county administrators around the state are in support of this. The county attorneys are as well. So we recommend that you approve the settlement with those four entities and sign on with this. And we would need to get this back, I believe, by, I think, it might be the 25th or sometime later this month, we need to get this in so the state can move forward. But that would be our recommendation.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the state subdivision agreement with participating local governments, the settlement participation forms with Allergan, Teva, Walgreens, and Walmart, to agree to sign the settlement participation forms for Teva, Allergan, Walmart, and Walgreens, and to delegate signature authority to the county administrator.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Then we have a couple letters here. This is a thank you letter. Is going out to Sarah England Cunningham for her service. No motion needed, but wanted to make everybody aware that we've sent a thank you letter out for her service. And there's a sewer allocation, a letter for we discussed that sewer allocation last week, I think. That copy of that is going out. At this time, it's time for public comment or media review. Anybody that's signed up would like to speak? That's all right. You want to come up? You're on your way.
Hi, I'm Janet Christensen Lewis, and I wanted to thank the commissioners for showing up for our event on the 31st. I think it was well received, and I hope you enjoyed the Kent County's storied landscape, place past and present. The event that we put on was promoted within the county, but KCPA, along with Maryland Public Television, will continue to promote this video. It will be on Maryland Public Television during Chesapeake Week on April the 18th at 8:30, and there are several other viewing times that it will become available during that week, and it will be part of their continuing lineup that they will intermittently show. We have press releases from Maryland Public Television that they have sent out to try to increase the visibility of the program. We have the trailer that we have available. And on the 18th, actually the website is already up, but Maryland Public Television has a website that will have resource information, including outtakes from the movie that weren't included in there. I think Kent County donated to help produce this movie. And I hope that Kent County takes advantage of it as a major way to publicize particularly heritage tourism and within Kent County. I think it will be a good tool to use, and we can take the video. KCPA co-owns the rights to the video along with Maryland Public Television, which gives us, either one of us, the right to allow the video to be shown in any venue that's available. So I will be forwarding to the Economic and Tourism Department the press releases. I think they already have the trailer, but I will send that forward. And we would really like to promote throughout the state this video, so that on the 18th, Maryland Public Television will have, when they look at their statistics, they will see that there was a lot of people that were interested in it, and that can only happen if we're able to help publicize it. So thank you.
Thank you.
And that was a very nice event Friday. Very nice.
Anyone else have a comment or, yes, sir?
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Fogwell. I've been tilling the Toll Park ground for a number of years, and my dad tilled it before that. So I received a letter, for termination of that ground in 30 days. It's my understanding that, and again, I'm not sure that it's an actual law, but notice be given from the landowner by July 1 for the following year.
That is if it's a periodic tenancy, a year-to-year lease, whereas this lease is for a set term, of a fixed term, and it also says it doesn't convert to a periodic tenancy. All that being said, there is and I advise the commissioners, there is a provision in your lease that says if you have already taken steps, to plant that land, that it's in the commissioner's discretion, they can extend the lease until you harvest or compensate you for the crops. So, and that would be their call. So,
As you pointed out, you've been doing this, we've been doing this for quite a number of years, or your father had in the past, and we were just made aware here recently that we were in this violation by the state. Not something we wanted to do away with, but because that property was bought with Project Open Space money, state money, those stipulations follow it, and we weren't even aware of it. And there's the place there at Toll Park, and then we have another situation out to Turner's Creek where there's a small parcel of land out there that has the same issue as what Toll Park has. So we've been told that we have to discontinue the farming of those two parcels of land. But obviously, it's been going on all this time, and nobody's been hurt too bad from it. So we're going to wait till you're ready to determine. I would think, and I'm speaking for my colleagues, probably a little premature, but I would think if you've got some time and money invested in that there's no rush.
Okay.
And I think we would all look forward to you completing your growing season and harvesting season, and then we'll probably have to terminate it at that point.
Okay.
What I would suggest is you modify the termination, because we've learned since we gave the lease is 30 days notice, but if he's got crops there, then at your option, you can extend that until when he has harvested the crops. So my recommendation would be that you modify that lease termination to change that from 30 days to when he's completed the harvesting of his crops.
And that can be done verbally or in writing, either one.
I think you can make the motion and
But I
the
think
staff
it's
can
good to
put it in
follow it up.
writing. Yeah, we can follow it up in
Follow it up.
writing, but you can just make the motion. So
I-
that way you'll be able to harvest the crops.
So,
It's my understanding that you currently have harvest wheat
Yes, sir.
that will be harvested in like June,
The end of June, 1st of July, and that, yes.
and that you've already put nitrogen on your ground there now.
Yes, as of right now,
As of Friday, I think.
my cost per acre is about $512.59. That includes fertilizer for the wheat/soybean crop for '23. The wheat will be harvested, like I say, at the end of June, 1st of July. And then the practice is to no-till soybeans right behind the wheat. And then they would be harvested probably end of October.
And you already have the seeds and everything.
The dealer, I don't personally have them. The dealer, I checked when I got the letter, and he's already got the seed. I don't know whether he's going to hold me, responsible for them, or whether he can send them back, or I'm not sure. But there has been fertilizer applied for the carryover soybean crop.
You could make it
Well, my
effective at the end of October.
look, the last thing we want to do is cause you you were farming that for us in good faith, and we were having you do it in good faith, and we want to continue doing our business with you. And I would think that you come up with a date when you tell us you're done, whether that's the middle of November or when, and then that's when it'll be.
Okay.
And I don't see a problem with that.
No, I think that's the fair way of doing business, and, we don't want to see you or your family suffer any damages whatsoever. So having said that, I'd like to make a motion that we put in another motion to allow Mr. Fogwell to continue farming and harvest his current crop, along with the planting of the soybeans that will come off sometime in the fall.
Yes, sir.
And at that point in time, once those beans come off, that our lease will be terminated.
And that's in accordance with the lease, because the lease provides for that.
Now, do we have, don't we have the same type, except for a different farmer, I guess? We've got the same issue at Turner's Creek, or not?
Yeah, I need to review that. Lacey's going to look for that lease, so I can review that. And then we also need to find out if the farmer has made the same investment that you have, because those are the two things in
Yeah,
play,
we
what
wanna
the
be
lease is
consistent.
and what the investment the farmer's made.
We want to be consistent
Right.
and fair as possible, so.
Right.
This isn't our fault that this land's going to be allowed now to probably grow up in weeds. I hope not. But I mean, to me, what we've been doing was a common sense approach. But common sense doesn't always come into play.
And I think from a legal standpoint with the state, once we learn that we're
Then
doing this in
we're doing that.
violation of Project Open Space, we've taken the steps we need to take, so long as we're not in violation of our own lease. So I think we're exercising our due diligence. Hopefully, the state will be satisfied.
And we've enjoyed having you I've only been here for a few months, but we've enjoyed, the county has, having you as a leasee of the property.
Oh, thank you.
It's only been a few months.
It's maybe a little longer.
But before I second that, I just wanted to reiterate what my colleagues were saying, that, but it is not our wish that you weren't continuing to do what you've been doing, and we appreciate what you've done, but unfortunately, I think our hands are tied, and we have to take this step. So having said that, I second Commissioner Price's motion.
And this does, this does result in a loss of revenue to the county, because this gentleman has been paying the county money for leasing the land. So, it is what it is. We have no control over what the state has demanded.
We didn't tell Mr. Fogwell we're raising the lease. That's just a joke.
So we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for all you've done over the years in taking care of that piece of property, you and your father, I guess. And thank you for your patience here today to sit here for 2 hours to get that straight, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh. How many acres was that, was it 20?
The lease states 20, but the whole tillable area was 21, and the park was taken out of that. I think it was 7 or 8,
I got
so
you.
the tillable is like 12 acres.
Oh, And like I said, I think we've got the same issue with a parcel of land up Turner's Creek that was being tilled by a farmer up that way somewhere. Well, same thing will have to apply to him, but by the way, was there a date in your motion? I don't remember.
No.
It was, basically, sometimes beans come off October, sometimes they come off November, and I've seen some come off in even December. If we need to put a date, I would say by December 31st. If,
Yeah, that covers.
Tom, I don't know whether you think that,
I think that.
I would say no later than that. I think just so we're good with the state, I think as soon as you have harvested in the fall, that's when it should end.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it, once you've harvested, you're not going to do anything with it anyway. So if you could let us know when you've harvested, that would be a big help.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Bye-bye. Anyone else have any comments or? Okay, well, we have a couple of closed sessions here. Need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session to discuss 3 matters under the Annotated Code of Maryland, General Provisions, Article 3-305B, 305B, 7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice and to consult with staff consultants or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. 2 separate matters will be discussed. Topics to be discussed are job performance and compensation related to services provided by a vendor, a legal claim, and the matters relating to job performance and compensation for services provided by a vendor are confidential. Legal claims are confidential and should be shielded.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
And it's been brought to our attention just to make it known, there will be a third closed session included in that third matter item.
What is the third matter?
That I'm not sure what that involves.
It has us talking with our Department of Planning about an issue.
I think I know what, okay, so that is, yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
it's on the record.
Okay, absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Another item added to that closed session.
Yep.
Okay.
So, give me a minute to.
You want these turned off?